for this video is the minimum wage. So what exactly is the minimum wage? The minimum wage is the lowest amount a business is allowed to pay you per hour. This only affects hourly workers. This does not affect salary workers. There are many different levels of the minimum wage. There is a federal minimum wage. The word here, federal, is talking about the US government or at the whole US as a country level. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25. It has been $7.25 since 2009. That was the last time it changed. Most states also have their own minimum wage, and some cities actually have their own minimum wage as well. So here's the minimum wage for the 50 states as of 2020. So in 2020, a lot of states increased their minimum wage. All the states you see in blue here increased their minimum wage in 2020. And so that is right there looking at the state level. About 48 different cities also have a minimum wage that is higher than the state that the city's in. So if you're looking over here, these are a large portion of these cities, of these 48 cities, are in California. So we're looking at this right here. California's minimum wage is $13. So all these cities here have a minimum wage higher than $13 per hour. Okay. In addition to California, here are the other cities that have minimum wage higher than their states. The colors are here just so it's easy to distinguish the different states. So in white, here's your Alabama. The next state, Arizona, Colorado's then in white. So that's all this gray there means. So in a lot of these states, it's only one city in that particular state. Besides California, the next biggest one that has, the next state that has the most cities that have a higher minimum wage than that particular state is New Mexico, followed by New York. And New Mexico, right here, has a state minimum wage of $9. So all these particular cities have minimum wage higher than $9. In New York City, the minimum wage is $11.80. So these particular 4 cities right here, or cities and counties, have minimum wage higher than that. All right. So if you have minimum wage at a country level, at a federal level, you have it at a state level, and you sometimes have it even at a city level, what is your actual minimum wage? Well, if you live in somewhere where the state and the federal, or even your state's federal and city have different minimum wages, then whichever one is the highest applies to you. So minimum wage covers the majority of workers here in the United States, but when the law was written, it created some exemptions. The first exemption is for tipped workers, so workers that receive tips. The most common you're probably familiar with is waiters and waitresses. So since in that industry it is very common for the waiter or waitress to receive tips, they do not have to get paid at that minimum level by the employer. Another exemption that was in place since minimum wage started, but it's actually changed. It used to be that home healthcare workers or home care workers were exempt from this minimum wage. So they could be paid less than the minimum wage. And these are people who did not get tips. These are the people who go into the home of elderly or disabled people, people who need help with everyday activities at home, and they take care of them. This was changed in 2015, and now minimum wage laws do affect home care workers, home health care workers as well. And lastly, the next biggest group that is not included in minimum wage is independent contractors, because independent contractors are technically their own businesses. They're a business owner. And so, because they are classified as owning their own business, the person that would pay them a minimum wage would be themselves. So obviously, they are also exempt from minimum wage laws. So if we were to look at the 2012 map, in green, you see all the states where the state's minimum wage is higher than the federal minimum wage being $7.25. All the blue ones have the same minimum wage as the state. And this is 2012. And like we said before, it did change a lot. So, for example, here, Nebraska and South Dakota both increased their minimum wage between 2012 2020, so they are higher than the $7.25 federal minimum wage. And there is one other I wanted to point out. Yes, up. Either way, so the federal minimum wage mainly affects right here these four particular states, or five particular states, coming down from Indiana, and then this section of the South here going from Georgia all the way to Texas, then back up to Kansas. And in most of the other states, it is the state minimum wage that actually ends up mattering. Now, the minimum wage actually has been going up. So if you look at this bottom line right here in yellowish green, that is the minimum wage dating all the way back to 1938. And as you can see, it's been more or less going up. However, since 1938, the price of things also go up. And while the price of things go up more or less every single year, there are many years where the minimum wage does not change. If we look at the more recent history, you can see there's a long period of time from 2009, that's this point right here, all the way to present, where the minimum wage has not changed at all. So these flat horizontal sections are these periods of time where the minimum wage really was not changing. However, every year since, the price of things have been increasing basically every single year. This red line right here tells you how much the minimum wage can buy, how much its buying power. So as prices go up, if your pay is not going up, then your buying power goes down. If the prices are going up and you're still earning the same, you can buy less stuff every year. So in 1938, this 25 cents could buy the same amount of stuff as $4.50 would buy you in 2018. So that's how they indexed it. They indexed the prices to 2018. So as you can tell, the buying power, how much minimum wage could buy you at the store, was sort of going up from about the 1950s through 1968. That was the high mark. In 1968, this $1.60 minimum wage could buy you the same amount as $11.39 in 2018. However, since then, the buying power of minimum wage has been decreasing. If you look from 1968 till right around here, that would probably be about 2000. The minimum wage has been increasing from 1968 to 2000, but it just has not been going up fast enough compared to the price of stuff you buy. The stuff you buy has been going up in price faster than the minimum wage since 1968. Therefore, the buying power of minimum wage has decreased all the way down to $7.25.